You know that feeling when you're searching for something and you can't even name what it is? You've been scrolling, watching, reading, looking for the thing that finally makes it all click. And maybe you found pieces here and there, little moments of, oh, that makes sense, but nothing that really lands deep enough to actually change anything. Until now. Because there's something different about this moment. The fact that you stopped here, that your attention caught on these words right now, that's not random. That's recognition. Something in you sensed this was the one. Not because it's better than everything else you found, because you're finally ready to receive it. Think about how many videos you've watched this week, how many articles you've read, how many times you've thought, maybe this is the answer, only to keep looking an hour later. It's exhausting, isn't it? This constant feeling that you're one more piece of information away from figuring it all out, one more insight away from finally being able to move forward. But here's what's actually happening. You're not missing information. You've already heard what you needed to hear. Maybe not in these exact words, but the message has been circling you for weeks, maybe months, showing up in different forms, waiting for the moment you were quiet enough to let it land. And that moment is right now. Because this isn't about giving you something new. This is about helping you recognize what's already trying to integrate inside you. The truth you've been dancing around. The shift you've been postponing because some part of you wasn't ready to stop searching and start living it. There's a reason certain messages only reach you once, not because they disappear, but because once they land, once your system actually absorbs them, you don't need to hear them again. The information becomes part of how you operate. It stops being external wisdom and becomes internal knowing. Think about the last time something really changed for you. A moment where something clicked and you couldn't go back to seeing things the old way. That shift didn't happen because someone kept repeating the same lesson over and over. It happened because you were finally in a state where your system could integrate it, where the message and your readiness aligned. That's what completion actually is, not an ending. An integration, the moment external guidance becomes internal truth. When the teacher's voice fades because you've embodied the lesson so fully that you don't need the reminder anymore. And right now, you're standing at one of those thresholds, the place where something you've been circling finally has space to settle, where the search can pause because the seeking part of you recognizes you already found it. You're just catching up to what your deeper self already knows. So, what's really happening when certain messages appear only once in your life? When a person shows up for a conversation that changes everything, then you never speak again. When you stumble on exactly the right words at exactly the right time, and then can't find them when you go looking later. It's not coincidence, it's timing. But not the kind of timing we usually think about. Not right place, right time, luck. It's energetic timing. The moment when your frequency and the message's frequency align perfectly, when your system is finally calibrated to receive what's being offered. Think of it like a door that only opens once. Not because it locks behind you, but because once you walk through, you're in a completely different room. You can't go back through the same door because you're no longer standing where you were before. The message delivered its energy, you absorbed it, and both of you moved forward. Your system works in completion cycles. Information comes in, gets processed, integrates into how you operate, and then the cycle completes. The external source isn't needed anymore because the wisdom is now internal. like a seed that no longer needs the shell once it's sprouted. The shell served its purpose. The growth continues without it. But here's where we get confused. We think lasting means important. We think if something really mattered, it would stay. So when people leave, when insights fade, when moments don't repeat themselves, we interpret it as loss. We go searching for what's gone, trying to recreate the conditions that produced that clarity. And in that searching, we miss what the completion was trying to teach us. That we already received it. That the integration is happening right now, in this space between the message and the embodiment. That the absence isn't a sign we lost something. It's a sign we're carrying it forward in a new form. You've probably experienced this without recognizing it. Someone said something to you years ago that you still think about. Not because you remember every word, but because something in what they said rewired how you see yourself. They might not even remember the conversation, but it lives in you, not as a memory, as a shift in your operating system. That's what happens when energy completes its cycle. The carrier disappears, but the message remains, woven into your awareness so thoroughly that you can't separate it from who you've become. And the reason some messages only need to appear once is simple. They're not meant to be repeated. They're meant to be integrated. Your system takes in the frequency, adjusts to match it, and then naturally stops seeking it externally because it's already internal. This is why you can watch the same video twice and have completely different experiences. The first time, if you're not ready, the words just sound nice. The second time, if you're aligned, they hit differently. Not because the video changed. Because you did. Your receiver tuned to the right frequency. But here's what most people don't realize. Once you've truly received a message, once integration begins, going back to that source starts to feel flat. Not because the wisdom isn't there anymore, but because your system already extracted what it needed. Trying to get more from it is like trying to eat after you're full. The appetite is gone because the nourishment was already absorbed, and that's not a problem to solve. That's your system telling you it's time to trust what you've received and let it guide you forward. The door opened once. You walked through. The room you're in now requires a different kind of attention than searching for more doors. So, how do you actually know when something has integrated? When the search can pause because you've received what you needed? Your system will tell you, not through some grand revelation, but through subtle shifts in what feels urgent. You'll notice that the same content that used to light you up with "yes, exactly" now just feels familiar. Not wrong, just complete. You've already absorbed that frequency. Your system moved past needing the external reminder because it became internal knowing. You'll find yourself naturally stepping back from the constant consumption. Not forcing yourself to stop, but genuinely feeling satisfied with less. Like you've been eating and finally feel full. The appetite for more information fades because what you needed is already integrating. And here's what starts to happen when you honor that completion instead of fighting it. You'll notice spaciousness where there used to be urgency. Mornings where you don't immediately reach for your phone to find the next thing that might finally be the answer. Moments where you catch yourself about to search for clarity and realize, I already have clarity, I'm just not trusting it yet. That's the shift. From seeking external wisdom to trusting internal knowing. From collecting insights to living them. From asking, when will I finally understand? To recognizing, I already do. I'm just scared to act on it. The practice isn't complicated. It's noticing when you're searching out of habit versus searching from genuine not knowing. when you reach for another video, another article, another voice to validate what you're already sensing. Pause. Ask yourself, am I looking for new information, or am I avoiding acting on what I already know? Because here's what happens when you've truly integrated a message. The knowing sits quiet and steady, not loud and urgent. It doesn't need constant reinforcement. It just is. Like how you don't need to remind yourself to breathe. The wisdom becomes that automatic, that embodied. You might find yourself in a situation that would have triggered hours of research and overthinking before. But now you just know what to do. Not because you have all the answers, but because the answer for this specific moment is already available inside you. The door opened once, you walked through, and now you're navigating this new space with the wisdom you absorbed. And when you do reach for guidance, it'll be different. Not desperate searching, but curious exploring. Not, please tell me what to do, but let me see what resonates. There's a lightness to it, a trust that if something is meant to land, it will. And if it doesn't, that's information too. If this is resonating, subscribe. I share videos on spiritual growth and trusting your inner knowing. The people who struggle most with this are the ones who mistake the search itself for growth, who think that constantly consuming content means they're evolving. But integration doesn't happen in the gathering. It happens in the pause, in the space where you stop taking in new information and start living what you already received. That's what this message is inviting you into. Not another answer to collect. A moment of completion, where you recognize that the seeking served its purpose, the wisdom landed, and now the work is trusting it enough to let it guide you forward. The door opened once. That was enough. So imagine yourself 3 months from now. You're not searching anymore. Not because you have everything figured out, but because you finally trust what you already know. That restless energy that kept you scrolling, kept you looking for the next piece, it's gone, replaced by something quieter, steadier. You're standing in your life with this calm certainty that you're exactly where you need to be. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're finally aligned with your own inner guidance. The external voices that used to feel so necessary, they're just background now. Interesting, maybe helpful, but not required, because the wisdom you need is already inside you. That's what completion feels like. Not dramatic, not loud, just this quiet sense of enough. Enough searching, enough questioning, enough looking outside yourself for validation that what you sense is real. And here's what makes this moment significant. This message finding you right now, in this exact form, at this exact time, this is the final key. Not because what I'm saying is so profound, but because you're finally ready to recognize what's been true all along, that you already have what you've been searching for. You're just learning to trust it. The door that opened when you clicked on this video, it's about to close. Not to lock you out, but because you're walking through it right now. And on the other side, the room is different. The questions shift. The urgency fades. The search transforms into something else entirely. So, here's what I want you to do. Go to the comments and type 3 words. The door opened. That's it. No explanation. Just those 3 words. Because when you name the moment, when you mark the threshold, something in your system registers it as real. The integration deepens. And if you know someone who's been stuck in the endless search, who keeps consuming but never moving, share this with them. Ask them to write it too. Because sometimes we need permission to stop seeking and start trusting. Sometimes we need someone to say, "You already found it, now live it." This message won't find you again, not because it disappears, but because once was enough. The moment you felt something settle, the moment recognition hit, that was completion. The energy transferred, the wisdom integrated, and now you carry it forward, woven so thoroughly into who you are that you won't need the reminder. The search brought you here. The integration begins now. Trust what you already know. Honor what's already inside you. Let the door close behind you and step fully into the room where everything you've been seeking has been waiting all along. This found you once. That's all it ever needed to do.